this was a great acknowledgement of the atrocity of chattel slavery that existed in our nation. But, we're in a pandemic, and lots of people, when we first brought this back, were how do we make this happen while we also make sure that our state is whole? And I think that we did an awesome job in all three branches in ensuring that we gave some dignity to Black African Americans, given the Black Lives Matter movement that took place last summer. That this was great, but we also ensured that we took care of our constituents as well, in business, in healthcare, or rental assistance, in ensuring that all of our constituents were made whole and brought together. And this is going to be a big climb out. But in the meantime, let's celebrate our reconciliation together. That's what we've been doing for over 400 days, is moving together. This is what this bill is about. It is about coming together as a nation and saying no more. Enough is enough. Time is up. We want to move to a place of inclusion, a place where we love our neighbors, that we help our neighbors, and that we are all successful. To me, that spells success in the state of Washington. June 19th is quickly approaching. I want this to be celebrated as we celebrate our independence on July 4th. This was the independence of the African slaves. Please participate with us. This is an opportunity to engage, to create inclusion, to learn the history, to learn about Black African Americans, learn the true narrative, not the narrative that was given to you, but who are these people for real? And that's what I'm excited about, the fellowship around this and bringing a culture into the forefront. Happy Juneteenth.
For the record, my name is Representative Melanie Morgan, and I represent the 29th Legislative District. I am here to ask you to join me in taking an additional step toward racial reconciliation. The bill before you, Substitute House Bill 1016, will make Juneteenth a state-paid holiday to commemorate the end of chattel slavery and honor those who were held in captivity, and to acknowledge that this atrocity has caused over 12 generations of trauma, known as post-traumatic slave syndrome. Africans were captured and shipped to a foreign land, herded like cattle in public auction, stripped naked, poked, and prodded for their sturdiness and strength for labor in the fields and the plantation houses and any other work that their white masters ordered. For over 400 years, several generations of Africans were beaten, bred like cattle, experimented upon, sexually abused, overworked, hung, and denigrated. On June 19, 1865, 2.5 years after President Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, news finally reached Galveston, Texas, that all enslaved persons were now released from the bondage of slavery. They were released off of those plantations with no direction of where to go, no resources on how to survive in a white society, and not a red cent in their pockets. They were left in abject poverty. 150 years of Black codes, race riots, exclusionary and Jim Crow laws, the crack invasion, over-incarceration, and death did not stop this resilient community, yet they rise. This country has passed 8 civil rights acts. The Black African American community has spent decades being told to wait. Yet my brothers and sisters are being killed in the streets and being killed in their beds. And my people are still in abject poverty with insurmountable barriers. Some say that it costs too much to acknowledge the end of slavery. To that I ask, when will it be cheap enough for this state to acknowledge that slavery was wrong and that we should honor the memory of those who suffered under that yoke. The data shows that this country made over $3 trillion on the backs of my ancestors. So requesting a paid holiday is not even close to the real cost of racial injustice. Consider this to be a down payment. Some have also said that the state of Washington didn't practice slavery. 2 points on that, Mr. Chair. One is the state of Washington benefited from the $3 trillion. And two, the state of Washington was not a state on July 4th, 1776, yet we celebrate that holiday proudly every year. Juneteenth, also known as Emancipation, Freedom, Jubilee, Liberation Day, being known by many names, tells me that this day is so monumental. It changed the course of our country. That one name doesn't give it justice. Virginia, Massachusetts, New York, Pennsylvania, and even Texas are other states that have done the right thing and recognize June 19th as a state paid holiday. Let us join our country persons and follow their lead. As this recognition is about a true acknowledgement that chattel slavery happened in this country. Without this, Mr. Chair, then how can we advocate for true racial equity? Today, we can take a step towards reconciliation and healing by acknowledging Black pain and Black trauma. African Americans deserve to have their history remembered. I thank you, and I hope you all will support this important move toward equity, diversity, and inclusion. Black Lives Matter.